Hey, fourth graders. This is perimeter of a square, pages 279 to 280. All right, so let's go over what a square is. Okay, so square, we learned that what makes a square a square? It's a rectangle with four, number four equal sides. Alright, so it's a rectangle, meaning it has four right angles, right? Four of those L shapes that we talked about. So L shape here, L shape here, L shape here. So it has four of those L shapes, and they're all equal sides, meaning all the sides are the same length. So maybe I'll make all this inches. So all four sides of this square is 8 inches. Okay, so this is what makes a square square. First, it has to be a rectangle, meaning it has four right angles, and most importantly, all the sides have to be the same length. In this case, all the sides are 8 inches. All right. So what this tells me is that, okay, so one really important thing to note if you have a square here, if I just know the length of one side, let's say the side is 71 feet. If this side is 71 feet and they tell me that this is a square, then I can automatically assume that all these other sides that I'm not sure what they equal. If I just know what the length of one side is, I can automatically assume that the other sides are also the same length. In this case, they're also 71 feet. Okay, 71 feet and 71 feet. All right, yeah, because that's what a square is, right? It has all the sides are the same length. Okay, so if I have a square here, and let's say once I I learned that this side here is 62 inches. So, and all the other sides here, I'm just gonna mark it as S, meaning we don't know what it is. Okay, if I know this side up here is 62 inches, then what's the length of the other sides? Okay, well, yeah, obviously also 62 inches because in a square, all the sides are the same length. All right, so that's an important thing to keep in mind. Okay, and perimeter, in our last lesson, we learned about what a perimeter is, and pretty much a perimeter is let me write it here. So perimeter is the distance around the polygon. So to find the perimeter of a square of any shape, all you have to do is add up the length of all the sides. So in this case, to find the perimeter of this square here will be really easy. All I have to do is just do 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. And if I added all this up, I would get, what was it, 8 times 4, which is 32. 32 inches. Okay, so that would be my perimeter, 32. So to find the perimeter of a square, what did I do? I added all the sides up, right? So we can use this formula here. Perimeter. So perimeter of a square equals side plus side plus side plus side. All right, so 4 sides, right? So that's what I did here. I just added up all the 8s here to get my perimeter of 32. Meaning the distance around this whole square is 32 inches. I can simplify this formula by saying P for perimeter equals how many sides do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4 times S. S represents side. So P equals 4 times S is the formula you can use to find the perimeter of a square. So in your math question today, you're gonna find questions that look like this. It's just gonna have S equals 5 yards. Okay, that's all. It's gonna tell you. S equals 5 yards, and it's gonna say this is a square. Well, we know that if I know one side equals 5 yards, I can automatically assume that the other sides are also 5 yards. Okay, and all I need to do is just, I can just either add 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, add all this up, and I'll get 20 yards. Or I can use this formula here, 4 times S. So just 4 times S, and S equals 5, which will give me 20. So I can use either method, okay? So pretty easy, right? Let's go over another example. So let me change colors. If S equals, let's say, 23 feet, and I told you to find the perimeter of the square if one side equals 23 feet, what do you do? How do you figure it out? Well, we can use this method, side plus side plus side plus side, right? Because we can assume that if we have one side of the square is 23, I can assume that the other sides here also equals what? 23, okay? If I just know the side of, all I need to do is know the length of one side, and I already know the length of the other 3 sides. So I can do 23 plus 23 plus 23 plus 23. I can do that, and that would give me what? 3, 6. What would that equal? 23, 23. If I did this, 3, 6, 9, 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So this would be 92 feet. Or I can plug it into my formula here. P equals 4 times S, and then S equals 23. So that means P equals, the perimeter equals 92. Okay, I can use either method here. All right, so not too difficult, right? So let's go over our let's look at our worksheets here. Okay, so this one is first one. Okay, it says find the perimeter of these squares by using addition. Okay, and it tells you S equals 3 yards. I'll make some space here. All right, so I'm gonna do a pretend problem here. So let's say S. Let's choose darker color. S equals 5 yards. All right. So they want you to find the perimeter of these squares by using addition. They want you to use the addition formula. So they want you to do, this is the addition formula, side plus side plus side plus side. So all you need to do is, if I know that one side equals 5 yards, so I can just assume that the other 3 sides is 5 yards, right? So if I have my square here, here's my square. One side is 5 yards, so I know that the other 3 sides is also 5 yards, because in a square, all sides are equal. So if I add all this up, P will equal to 25. Right? No, 20. Sorry, 20. P will equal 20. So to do the same thing for 3 yards. All right, just add it up 4 times. Same thing for the other 2 questions. All right, number 2, it says find the perimeter using the formula P equals 4 times S, which is same thing as perimeter equals 4 times a side for additional problems. Okay, don't worry about that. All right. So now they want you to use the this formula instead. So how that would work. Oops. Okay, let's do it for this one. So it tells me S equals 3 yards. So I know that one side equals 3 yards. Let me do a pretend problem. Just do 5 yards. But I'll go back to 5 yards. Okay, so if I know one side equals 5 yards, again, I can assume that the other 3 sides is also 5 yards. So perimeter equals 4 times S, and right here, S equals 5. 4 times 5, right? So perimeter equals 20. So I don't like how they use the same numbers as number 1, but so all you need to do is just multiply by 4 instead of adding it 4 times. All right. Okay, now number 3, find the perimeter of these polygons. Okay, remember polygons are any shape made out of straight lines, no curves. So rectangle. L equals 15 feet and W equals 11 feet. So if you guys remember the formula to find the perimeter of a rectangle, the formula was 2 times L plus 2 times W, which is width. All right. So let's do a pretend problem here. If I had a pretend problem, let's see, let's do 17 and W equals 13. All right. So if I had a rectangle here, the length was 17 feet, the width was 13 feet. How would I find their perimeter? So what I would need to do, plug it into this formula here. Right, perimeter equals 2 times L plus 2 times W. So perimeter equals 2 times L. So in this case, L is 17 plus 2 times W, and W here is 13 feet. So do what's in the parentheses first. This will equal 26. This would equal 2 times 17, 20, 34. 34 plus 26. 60. All right, so perimeter equals 60 in this case for this rectangle here. So you'll do the exact same steps, but instead of 17 and 13, you're doing 15 and 11. All right, okay, for the length and width. Okay, so squares, same thing, what we just did before. So this is a square. If one side is 8 feet, what is the perimeter? Okay, remember, we can assume that the other sides are also 8 feet. If one of the sides is 8 feet. Okay, that's what makes a square a square. All the sides are equal. This time it's going back to a rectangle. All right, remember the correct formula to use to find the perimeter of this rectangle. Write the correct prefix in the blank. So you would need to use your, metric poster. If you go back to page, let's see, page 348 is going to help you with this. Okay, page 348 has a reference for this. Software in, check each answer. Okay, we've done plenty of those. I think a lot of you guys are doing a good job with these type of problems. Let's go to the back page here. All right, long division. Don't forget to check, guys. A lot of you guys are forgetting to check. Solve these story problems. Okay, let's see if I give you a hint. All right, Nicole entered a story contest. The story could not have more than 1,500 words. Nicole wrote 6 pages with an average of 233 words per page. How many words could she have written without going over the limits? All right, so she is writing a story, and the max number of words you can have in the story is 1,500 words. All right, and she wrote 6 pages, and each page had about 233 words in each page. Okay, so you're trying to figure out how many more words could she have written without going over the limit. So first thing we need to figure out is how many words did she write? So she wrote 6 pages. Each page had 233 words. that will give you how many words she wrote, okay? Total she wrote. All right, so take that number, and you would need to take that number and subtract that by 1,500. So that'll tell you how much is left, how much more she could have gone over. So 1,500 minus wherever the total she wrote was, and that will give you how many more words she could have written. Okay. Spencer spent 3 1/3 years with his parents as missionaries in South Africa. How many months did Spencer stay in South Africa? Okay, so one important thing: how many months are there 1 year, guys? 1 year equals 12 months, correct? Okay, so you would need to. So how would you figure out how many months 3 1/3 years is? Is this a multiplying, divide, add, or subtract? Or subtract or add? Which kind of problem you think? Okay, it's a multiplication problem. So you would do 1 1 3/3 times 12, and that'll tell you how many months Spencer stayed in South Africa. Okay, all these other problems seems pretty simple. You guys should be able to do these. All right, I want to do this problem real quick. Some of you guys are having a tough time changing a mixed number into an improper fraction. Remember, so for example, for 5 3/10, you would need to do the 5 times the multiply by the denominator, right? In this case, it would be 10. So 5 times 10. Okay, and then add the numerator, 3. And remember, the denominator stays the same. In this case, the denominator is 10. This would make it 50 plus 3. This is 53/10. Okay, so you get to change this to 53/10 and multiply that by 100. We make 100 into a fraction by just putting over 1. And yeah, I'll let you do the rest. All right, so remember, to change a mixed number to an improper fraction, just do the whole number minus times the denominator and add the numerator. All right, and then keep the denominator the same. That's it for today's lesson. Hope you guys are doing okay. All right, take care.